Teddy Hart and CM Punk got into a fight with one another prior to the February 25th pay-per-view.
This is a classic, by the way. This is a classic, first getting into indie wrestling, and you hear people talk about the stories. This is one of the first ones you hear.
The two men ran into one another at the White Trash Cafe. Couldn't be better named for the situation, frankly. We'll actually go to Dave's recounting of the story because it's a lot more detailed than the PW Torch version is. Dave has like blow by blow of everything that happened.
He probably got it from Punk.
Well, dude, there's like two versions of this. There's a version that came out pretty quickly that was like Punk kind of won the fight or it was a draw. And then there was every other version of the story that came out after that, which is Punk got his ass kicked by Teddy Hart.
Well, let's find out.
So Punk and Teddy Hart have had issues going back a long while to Ring of Honor and going back to TNA. Punk wrote a very long live journal blog about why he hates Teddy Hart. If you'd like to read the whole thing, it's in the show notes. You can also just go to Punk's live journal and read it. It's there too. That's still online, remarkably. It's amazing to me that that's still online.
Well, you can also go find, I think Samoa Joe's live journal is up as well.
So, like, the bones of why he hates him is that he thinks he doesn't respect the business, he doesn't respect wrestlers, he's unsafe, and he has a big mouth. He keeps on talking and making shit up. One of the reasons he hates him is, like, he said he did a 30-foot moonsault off a cage, and he's like, that wasn't 30 feet. It's like, come on, Punk, you're a wrestler. Let's not give out about these things.
Yeah.
He hates Teddy Hart. It's literally 3 pages of the show notes is that live journal blog about how he hates Teddy Hart. Actually, my favorite part of that is that he's like, oh, you said you're drug free? Well, you were asking where you can get drugs at TNA.
Yeah, that was a good one, because that was also in one of the shoot interviews he did, I think. He brought that story up as well.
Hate each other. Not good friends at all here to CM Punk and Teddy Hart. So, those close to Punk say he hates Hart with a passion and probably does even more now. Hart was wearing headphones. This is at the White Trash Cafe, of course, which many think he doesn't even have on. He just puts the headphones in for the sake of it.
I do that sometimes, to be fair, because I don't want people to talk to me.
Yeah, he didn't want Punk to talk to him. He was smirking before Punk bumped him, and Punk made a comment, and Hart either couldn't hear it because of his headphones or pretended not to hear it. When Punk repeated it, they ended up outside the cafe. The two were talking, with neither shouting at each other. Eyewitnesses did see Hart take off his headphones, and then Punk slapped him very hard. Punk probably figured that would be it, but didn't realize that Hart has boxing training, and Hart responded with an overhand right that decked Punk. Hart got in 2 more shots on the ground as Punk had a black eye and a goose egg before Sabu, of all people, jumped in and broke up the brawl. Everybody stopped because Sabu, as nutty as he can be, according to Dave Meltzer, is a veteran and is respected, particularly by Hart. There were others watching who did nothing until Sabu jumped in, and then the other wrestlers helped Sabu out. As they were being separated, both started yelling at each other with the "he wants some more" type. Punk, who lost a little face because he started the fight and got the worst of it, was saying later that he was going to get him before the day was over, until the people in the company made it clear that if he tried to, he'd be gone. Since Hart came in with the skepticism, the only reason he wasn't fired is because there were many eyewitnesses who all, including those who hate Hart, said that Punk started it, and the only thing Hart could possibly be faulted for was smirking. And Don Harris sat them both down at the show, being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're grown adults. Stop fighting.
Thanks, voice of reason, Don Harris.
Voice of reason, Don Harris. Just sitting the two lads down and being like, no fighting. We are civil in this world. We respect each other.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's not technically what led to the end of Punk and TNA. We'll talk about that in March and April. The thing that does directly lead to Punk no longer appearing in TNA is coming up very soon.
And choices had to be made or were made for them.
But this did lead to Punk being pulled. He was supposed to have another match against Raven in March, but that was pulled, and Punk stopped appearing for a few weeks, even before all that went down with Rob Feinstein went down in April and March. So this is the end of CM Punk and TNA. February 2004 is his last match.
Well, let's leave it till we actually cover the match to talk about.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Raven and Gathering stuff later. But yeah, he got in a fight with Teddy Hart, and he lost.
To be fair, I don't blame anyone for losing a fight to Teddy Hart. That dude probably beats fucking ass, so I can't blame him for taking the L on that. But the problem is, if you slap someone to start a fight, you gotta be prepared to throw down. Like, people don't take getting slapped kindly.
They don't. Usually it does result in a fight. And usually the person who throws the first blow has a strategic advantage and shouldn't get their ass kicked.
Well, because I think normally the type of people who throw a slap to start off think they're going to get away with it. Like, if you're someone who wants to fight someone and you throw a punch, you're willing to fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you slap someone, you think that you're, like, going to bitch him out.
Clearly, he did not bitch out Teddy Hart.
I think very few people could.
Yeah, it was the big joke when Punk started doing MMA. It's like, the dude that got his ass kicked by Teddy Hart, huh?
That should have been the match.
They should have. UFC should have booked this.
Imagine the promos.
I don't think UFC are above booking Teddy Hart.
No.
There's many Teddy Hart stories this month. Like, the dude is crazy. Like, legitimately crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's Teddy fucking Hart, man.
He hurts his knee in a match against Mr. Aguila for the second America's X Cup, which is the reason that he's taken out of a match against Hoovy and Jerry Lynn on the pay-per-views, replaced by Petey Williams. But there's a whole bunch of speculation about, like, is he working this knee injury?
Yeah.
Because he is a crazy human being who cannot be trusted in any regard. So literally everything he does is, like, scrutinized. And he's like, I think I can be the next Brian Pillman. And there's a bunch of stories about how he was limping around, but he did, like, multiple costume changes even after he hurt his knee. And there's stories about how he walks around backstage making sure everybody knows that he's a Hart. And he even talks about, like, oh, did you know my Uncle Owen died in the ring?
Jesus. Yeah, Ted, we heard about it from Roddy Piper.
Yeah, he's just casually dropping that into conversation.
Hey, man, it's Ted Hart. What do you expect?
Yeah. And on the scale of Ted Hart things, him being a little weird and getting into fights is probably the least of it. TNA wrestlers also sounded off on CM Punk, who appears to be taking the bulk of the office heat for the fight. Some wrestlers have been down on Punk for whining, that's new about Punk, about his push and lack of promo time. The wrestlers say Punk has rubbed some of the locker room veterans the wrong way because they don't think he is paid enough dues to be complaining about a situation when so many of them are stuck in similar situations. Meanwhile, some wrestlers were down on Punk for talking trash about Hart prior to his return to TNA. You don't tell everyone you're going to kick somebody's ass, you just do it. Teddy may be immature, but Punk is a mark. This is a quote from a wrestler.
Hey, but please don't put that on us.
Yes, no, listen, I know some of you hate me for opinions about CM Punk, even though I like CM Punk and I think he's great. But some wrestlers did not think much of Punk back in 2004, probably because he was, again, he's as loudmouthed as Teddy Hart is without all the other problematic stuff. There was a lot of talk backstage that Punk will be punished more severely by TNA officials because he was the one who started the fight. Wrestlers say it was no coincidence that Punk did a clean job in the Gatherings match versus Raven and Sabu. Sources say a rematch was between those teams was originally scheduled for next week, but TNA officials called off a promo with the Gathering and James Mitchell that was going to set it up while they decide what Punk's involvement will be, if any.
Poor Julio.
That's also the thing, yeah. Julio, also his last match in TNA. He doesn't even get, like, the paltry few singles matches afterwards. He's also done.
Couldn't even give him, like, a Raven singles.
Yeah, throw him in the X Division, just throw him in some multi-mans or something. Just give Julio some work. The poor dude.
Yeah, come on, Punk. At least give Julio fucking a Ring of Honor call. What are you doing?
You fought with Teddy Hart, and you cost Julio his job. The least you could do is get him into AEW.
Yeah. It's alright.
So, yeah, that's the big fight between Teddy Hart and CM Punk, which was, among other things, one of the catalysts for Punk's leaving TNA.
A classic.
A classic in indie wrestling indeed. And Punk got his ass kicked.